over the fence, and during brunch. Right here, right now. This is Our Voices. It's the hottest talk show where women get vocal. But today we're talking about a sensitive issue. People get emotionally charged when they speak about this. Some speak boldly, some disengage from the conversation altogether. But what we're talking about is a four-letter word called race. And here's another one, hate. And another, fear. Hate and fear have driven race relations in this country since slavery days. And when we're looking at what's happening all around our country, from Ferguson to New York City, even with one of the most recent tragedies involving a white police officer who's now being charged with murder for gunning down an African-American man, an unarmed African-American man at that, it's clear the time has come for the American people to have a serious discussion about race right here at home. So my question is, ladies, will white Americans ever stop living in fear of African Americans?
I don't think that it will ever die down, so to speak, because some white Americans fear that the African American population is actually going to surpass them, overtake them. So as a white person, some whites want to keep us African Americans at a certain level and not continue to advance. And we've made so many advancements today. There's blacks that are lawyers, doctors, authors, senators, the president.
Yes.
You know, and I think that as the white culture, they see African Americans as advancing too much.
Linda, yeah, I knew it. I knew you were going to I knew it.
Advancing too much?
Yes.
Come on.
I don't think so.
No.
Well, what do you ladies say? Well, what do you think it is?
Okay, African Americans, they can go to school, become doctors now, lawyers, as you said, business owners.
And they were voting before women voters. Black African Americans were voting before women. I mean, and it's been 150 years since the Civil War.
But where are we today with it? You know, like you said, we have made advancements, but where are we today? How are we looking at each other? How are we dealing with each other?
I think it depends on the community. As a matter of fact, we live in California, one of the most diverse parts of the nation. It's almost like a global set, but you still see that. You still see that in corporate America, and you still see that all over the United States. I think what's going on from our perspective, since the time of slavery, you had the white slave masters, going to bed with the African American women, and then they made some of the white ladies real mad and jealous because they were bringing
Okay,
all
but
of these
is that what you're thinking,
babies.
that the white people are angry
You can never
because of
forget
that right
that.
now?
You can't forget that. And every time you see a black person, you think that black person is going to come and steal from you, take away stuff from you. Look
You know,
at
okay, it's not only with white people, black people. I was engaged to a man that was black. I was going to marry. I was going to marry a man that was black. He came.
Is that a validation?
And so listen to this. He broke up with me because I'm white, and he said it would be easier to marry a black woman.
But were there any issues outside of, that?
There was issues because we went to the beach. He finally came home. He was in the military. He finally came home. We went to the beach to Carlsbad, and it was a bunch of white people. And when we went to the beach, he asked me to put on sunscreen on him because he was half white and half black. But this lady next to us, said, "Why is she rubbing a black man with sunscreen when he's black?"
Oh my God.
Because some people still have a problem with
it
white
was
and
a
black
problem. It was a problem. It was
Well, see,
a
I have a
problem.
question.
It was a huge problem because he broke up with me after that. Dan said that I don't want to have children that are. I'm interracial. I'm black and white, and I need to stick with black and you need to stick with white because I can't do this anymore.
But Irene, do you really feel it was that simple? You know, the idea that this lady, this stranger, just intruded onto you guys' experience and made that statement. Do you feel
It
that
was
that
hard.
was?
It was a hard relationship.
Do you feel it was appropriate?
It wasn't appropriate. It
Ah,
ruined,
there you go.
It ruined my relationship.
And that's what we're looking at today. We have people who say, you know, like you, Linda, you know, there's no issue. You know, I don't have an issue.
Well, I never said there was an issue.
Well, what are you
I never-
saying?
What I'm saying is, okay, let's put it out there, okay? If I see a group of young men, okay, they could be black, they could be Mexican or Hispanic, white, but if they're standing at the corner dressed like a thug, you know, with their pants half down, wearing a white wife beater
Yeah,
tank
wife
top,
beater.
you know, big chains, and I have my 2 little daughters, and I'm walking down the street, and I see that. To me, that puts a red flag up in my mind, like a fear that I'm like, I don't want to walk my children past these.
Okay,
guys.
well,
So I'll just cross the street.
Well, let me ask you a
to be
question. How
safe.
often do you see that
You
actually
see
take
that
place?
quite a bit. You see that quite a bit.
Where?
Well, wait a
What's
minute.
happening?
You see that in the media.
That's-
The media has a way of portraying a whole lot of stuff. So
Yes,
are you going to
yes.
close
No,
Facebook,
no,
close
'cause listen,
Twitter,
wait a minute,
or
let's
the,
see.
the music videos and television and everything because of that? I mean, the media is portraying that. Everyone in America have seen someone, you know, with a saggy bag on. I mean, some of the women are doing it, but that should not create
There's
any
more than
drama.
black
That
people
should not
doing
that
that.
should
No,
not
thank
create
you.
any
But what's
reason why
happening-
the white population should fear the blacks because of that.
But what's happening is all you see in the media is the media draws attention to the African Americans that are having any type of violence or any type of issues, crime. They
No.
don't draw the attention
Okay.
to the African Americans that are doing well, doing successful, and making it.
Okay,
Like,
in the same
all the attention
situation-
is drawn to the negative.
Right.
In the
It's
same
always the negative.
situation, if I was
Which is
walking
absolutely
down the
right.
street and I saw African American or Hispanic or white and they're dressed, you know, even in business attire, like they're going to work or whatever, I'd feel safe walking past them. It's the way that the demeanors that they put off. You know, if they wanna look like a thug, I'm gonna treat them like a thug.
Oh my
But
God! If you treat them like
No,
a dog,
I-
you will
listen,
not walk
no.
past them.
That's why I wouldn't walk past them if he was dressed up like a thug. I'm like, I would cross the street and avoid it.
Okay,
Let me
And
tell you.
I would too,
at the
with
same-
any race.
Yeah, and
Any
that's-
race.
Yeah,
Well,
and that's
let
what
me-
my
let me-
sister
let me
said.
tell you guys-
Any
let me tell you guys
person that
something.
dresses like that, that brings that type of dress or mentality, they're projecting that
Yes.
this is what I'm
Right.
about.
Right.
If you're walking around with your pants down below your butt crack and your arms are they're tatted up and you've got, you know, earrings that are like, you know,
Right.
all over your body.
Welcome to the
that's-
rap world. So are you telling me
that's
if
what
you see
you're
Jay-Z,
portraying.
if you see Jay-Z with his pants down and all his tat or big chin or whatever, or Dr. Dre, are you gonna
You know
run
what?
away from them?
But how can you
They're
take somebody like that
entertainers,
serious?
and I think
Oh.
no. What I'm saying is, if you're dressed like a thug, be prepared to be treated like a thug.
Okay, well, let's get
Okay.
really clear though. A lot of African American men, we're going to speak specifically about the African American men, they aren't walking around daily dressed with their
No,
pants sagging.
no, and I-
but yet they're still being victimized. Yet the media is
You're
still
absolutely
projecting them
right.
to be thugs. The second an incident happens in the media where, say, there's a crime that takes place, if the suspect is black, you hear it. At least I know I hear it.
Because
You know, he's an
the
animal.
media
How can you do that?
inspires.
That's primarily what you hear. And that's what I was saying. You don't hear the good that the African Americans are doing. You don't.
But,
So,
but you
you
do,
know,
like
or it's very
Condoleezza
little.
Rice is, there are a lot, and and Oprah Winfrey is the richest woman in the
Oh,
world.
What does
my
that have to
God.
do with anything?
Speaking of Oprah, she was out of the country in some high-end store, girl. I can't even go to that store. Oprah walks in there and they are staring at her like she cannot afford whatever is there or what. I mean, they treated her so bad. She left from there. Well, when she left from there, word got out. When word got out and they found that Oprah was this billionaire from America, no, oh my God, we just missed a big business.
But I mean, does it take all of that you know, can we not just get past the fact that, you know, some people are black, some people are white? Why must it be so dependent on who that particular person is? Why can't we just treat everyone equally?
Absolutely. I
That's a
think
good
all,
question,
all,
because-
all men are born equal.
But all people aren't treated as such. People
That's
still
what we're talking
today,
about, right?
well,
With the
even
fingers.
though we have progressed as a nation, still today, people are treated by the color of their skin and not the content of their
and
character.
my boyfriend, my fiance boyfriend, when he broke up with me, he told me, "You are just lucky. You're lucky I'm doing this for you because now you're white pride, Irene." And I'm like, "What do you mean white pride?"
Well,
Linda,
we've heard that. We've heard that before. We've heard where, you know, there's this feeling, and I can speak as a black woman, there's this feeling in the black community that white people have this superiority complex, that they're somehow better than other races. You know, so, I mean, what do you think about
well, I
that?
don't have white pride.
So,
Anything?
I'm sorry. Okay, so you're saying white pride is where they feel superior?
Yeah. Well, not white pride. I mean, we're all supposed to have pride in ourselves, obviously. But there's this extra component where the white race seems to feel that they are better than most other races.
That's
You know
crap.
what? I don't think that there might be a small group of people that think that way, but I think in general, especially with our younger generation, that's kind of getting squashed right there.
Yeah,
Well, I don't know.
The older generation, yes, they if you lived through the segregation and the integration of the blacks and whites, then yes, I can see that still.
Well, then let's take a look at the president. He's black. No other president in the history of our country has ever been treated as poorly as he has. How can we say this is a thing of the past? This isn't. It's still very present. I mean, what do you think? You come from Africa. So you have this unique, incredible outside perspective, although you are a resident here. What do you think about all of this?
I am so glad you brought that fact. I grew up in Africa, and in Africa, the whites that I knew that were there, they blend in so much. They were so loved. I mean, once upon a time, they wanted to know the names of the Africans in my own little quarter. As they asked this person, would say, "Oh, Muhammad," or Kadala, or Fatu. So they came to me and asked me what was my name. I mean, jokingly, you know, there was so much love and everything. They ate the food, they lived with the people, they went to the villages, they did everything. They were our teachers. You know, the fathers used to come to our house. My parents knew the fathers and everything. And he asked me, "What is your name?" I didn't say my name was Bendu, you know, Kroma at the time. I said, "My name, you really want to know my name? My name is Miss Siniki Niloko Niwepa." He said, "Huh?" I said, "My name is Miss Siniki Niloko Niwepa." He said, "I will never get there." And I'm just trying to say that, I mean, we got along so well. They were so loved. Why can't that be the same over here? The difference is because they brought the blacks here as slaves. Imagine being chained. You know, imagine being chained and days and weeks, you know, or seeing your wife, you know, being raped by the slave master, and the slave master's wife, you know, seeing her husband sleeping with these people. I mean, so the American culture is completely destroyed. It's completely destroyed.
I
when
agree.
it
I
comes to
agree
that.
with you. If America never had slavery, I really don't believe there'd be that big of a divide between black and white.
I like that. Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
I don't. And then another thing is, not all white people are racist.
Oh, no, I don't think anyone thinks that.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying that
Yeah.
out loud because if you look at this panel, we have three.
I
Good.
think older
So-
generations have more prejudice.
Right. Well, that's what they grew up with the segregation and the integration. So that's what they know. That's how they grew up. But what I'm saying is now the younger generation, they're
they
more
are.
accepting of
They are.
all types of people.
Okay, so everyone's good here. We're all happy. We're all friends. That's ideal. But what about the everyday life stuff? You know, would you allow your kids? You are a mother, right? Right. would you allow your daughter to grow up and marry a black man?
No, I would not.
So
There you go.
For why?
You
just
know?
said that you're for
And
that
I
everybody's not a
also-
racist,
because-
but you're not gonna let your daughter grow up and
Okay,
marry a black man.
Just
That
because
doesn't
I don't,
make
okay,
sense.
because in my family, we stay within our own race.
Why
It
is
makes-
that?
The
Because-
human race.
Well, because
you,
of
Linda.
my
The
Thank you.
because
Caucasian
of my
white.
situation with my boyfriend, I agree with her. I tell my kids, okay, if you want to date a black person, I'm just going to tell you, it is hard. It's hard out there. I've done it, and I don't suggest it to
So
them.
Well-
wait. So what you guys are saying
think
is that if your child wants to date someone
That's
that
fine,
is
they can
African
date him.
or marry someone that is African American, they cannot. They're not going to have your blessing on that.
It's not that they're not going to have my blessing, it's that I tell them, they know about my situation, and it was hard, and it's hard. You should just stay in your own race.
Okay, but you were in love.
Okay.
Okay, so imagine, go back to that feeling and imagine your kids having that same feeling. Do you really feel the healthiest way to approach this is through fear? Like telling them, you know what, it's just better to avoid it altogether. Is that really the way to progress as a country?
Okay, but,
Absolutely not.
well, okay, I have 2 daughters, okay? I grew up in a family where it was made clear we're not to date out of our race. So, I mean, we had friends that were African American, but, you know, we never would ever cross that line.
What line? What
There was a line of
What line?
demarcation where you couldn't,
You know, cross
cross
the line
over to
between
the other race.
or dating outside of your race.
But so you
So-
said you got
Wait,
really
wait,
clear.
Wait. Just African American, or could you guys date Mexican, any
Or Asian.
And any other
or
race.
just white? Because you married just a white guy, right?
Well, I have never dated a black person before, you know.
Have you
and I-
dated
So
Hispanic
would you?
or-
I mean, let's say
No.
you're not married, but would you date a black man
personally, no.
because of the color of his skin, or
Because
because
that's
of
not
what he's
what I-
his
that's
character?
not-
Okay, but why?
So you wouldn't even give him a second look because he's black. Is what you're saying?
You know, that has nothing
You
to
know-
do with that.
you know,
that's what you're
You
saying.
see, you're making it into, if you can't date a black guy, that means you're a racist. That's what you're saying. And
Okay,
that's
wait.
that's white
Wait.
people.
Okay, ladies.
I ain't talking about this with
Because
Wait a
what's
minute.
happening
Wait a
is
minute.
what you're saying is
Okay, ladies. Hold on. Everyone, hold on.
Their character. She's
I
gonna look at their skin.
Hold on. I told you. This is a topic that gets people emotionally charged.
Exactly.
But I think the question is that everyone's wondering is why? Why aren't you allowed to cross that line? This line that your family has set for you. What is the reason for that?
In this late
And but
day,
you're an adult.
Yes, I'm an
Well,
adult.
Linda.
Because I don't want to have a mixed baby. I want my children to have blue eyes, light hair, light skin.
Why?
Because why should we all
Because she's in
Inter-
fear of.
I am not in
genetic
fear of anything. Do you
annihilation.
understand that?
She's in
And you
fear of the white race
No.
going away.
And you know,
Is that
You know
what it
what?
is?
No.
That's
So then
what
what
you're
is it?
portraying.
Listen. Well, what I'm trying to say to you, stop interrupting me.
Talk.
I'm trying to tell you, not all families want to intermix with
Okay.
other races. It doesn't matter if you're black or Hispanic or Asian.
But who's making that decision for every member of that family?
You grow up a certain way, okay? This is what you learn. This is what you're supposed. This is how you know. For my family, we knew not to marry outside our
so
race.
it passed down from generation
Right.
to generation
All right.
to generation.
But for me, I would very much prefer my child to marry within their race. It's a lot easier, religion-wise too.
oh no,
Well,
no. You
yeah.
can't let. There's so many
Yeah.
African Americans
This is
that
where
are
Catholic-
Catholic.
I
Yeah.
know.
But there's
But what I'm saying is, if you marry somebody within your own race, you have those commonalities. Now, if you marry someone outside your race, you have to be ready for whatever anybody has to say with you. Irene has experienced this firsthand.
Exactly. Well, listen
my
to this.
God.
My friend that I was engaged to, I knew him since I was 4 years old. So it wasn't like I was looking for a black per se man.
Right.
I was raised also like Linda. You can be his friend, But you do not, you just don't. You want children that are gonna look like you, Irene. You're so pretty, Irene, and
Okay,
blah, blah, blah.
okay,
Well, listen,
okay. I just gotta say something.
I had to keep
But wait
my
a minute, wait
relationship
a minute,
secret.
wait a minute.
Okay.
Hold on, wait a minute.
No.
Wait a minute.
No.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, Tyree.
I knew my friend for many years, and we kept it a secret for years that one day I was going to marry him. And it was not only for my family. His family didn't want him marrying a white girl either. I mean, really.
Okay,
so
but-
you guys are just as to you as Linda is to us.
Well,
but at
not
the same
necessarily.
time-
Not
at the same
necessarily.
time, there's certain things you were raised to do or not to do, and when you grow up,
How
you
would you feel
realize.
if your daughter
when
married
you
a white
realize,
man?
I don't care if she marries a white man. I don't care if my son marries a white woman.
That's called growth.
If he or she wants to marry the person that they love, that they are attracted to, that they have something in common with, that is going to be that provider, companion for them.
But
It
listen
doesn't
to
matter
this.
if their skin is purple, black, or blue. They can
But
marry
listen,
them. They
listen,
can have my blessing.
Linda,
Hold up, I'm not done. And so
Hurry
when
up.
you grow up, you have an innate ability to make a decision, to make a choice.
Right.
And you choose. Yeah, you were raised, oh, you can't like this race, you can't like that race, but you realize that at some point that is wrong, and you have an innate ability to make a choice between
But
right and
okay,
wrong.
I got you on this one. And you all are Christians. And in the Bible, it says all men were born equal. I mean, where does Christianity say in the Bible, oh, you are so white, you cannot go out with a black person? I never see that in the Bible before. When you
Now, can
find
I
that
say
line,
something? Okay.
go ahead.
It all comes down to
Ethnics,
no,
right?
it comes down to what you want your child to look like. I always knew I wanted my kid to have blue eyes.
But how can you make that decision for a child that is
You know
just
what?
a minor right now?
Because, you know what? You have to make that decision because I don't want to live in a world where everybody's all mixed and I don't know what the heck you are. and,
That's fine.
you know.
But let me ask you a question. Will you teach your children that same mentality? Will you pass that down to them?
Yes.
Okay, and
Well-
I'll answer that in just a second. I don't have a problem with people that want to date outside their race.
Okay.
If you want to marry outside your race,
You just
that's
can't do it.
fine.
You're a family.
That's fine. But I'm just saying, when it comes down to having children, my belief is it's best to stay within your own.
But that's the
That
same within
is
your
called
own.
segregation.
But
That's
the
called
Bi-
segregation.
No, it is
Linda,
not.
It is.
Linda,
does.
In
Wait,
the
wait.
beginning, God created the heavens and earth. God created
Speak,
Adam and Eve.
Speak.
And from Adam and Eve, henceforth came all of us.
Right.
So if you trace the rate, the race, it goes to that point. I mean, we're just praying down like this. How can you
But you
now?
lose
how can you
tradition.
now, a Christian,
Tradition
a Catholic,
changes.
try to say,
It
oh
always
no, I
changes.
just want my
No.
children.
Okay, my family is a strong Catholic, Irish, German, and Scottish. Okay.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray
Yes.
for us.
Okay.
Dear
No.
Linda now.
No. What I'm saying is, it would be horrible if all that history is lost because you intermix with so many different cultures, you don't even know what the hell you are.
Wait.
That is
No, what's
not a
horrible?
loss of history.
But wait. What's horrible is not so much of traditions being lost, it's lives being lost. And right now, the condition of our country is costing us American lives.
Exactly.
So what do you say to that? I mean, is it really so valuable to you to maintain this tradition in your household to where you can't contribute to progress?
Okay, what do you mean progress?
Progress.
Just if somebody sleeps with a black guy, oh, that's progress.
It's not that
Woohoo!
simple.
Come on!
It's not that simple. You're simplifying the issue.
That's what you're
That's
trying
not
to
what she's
portray.
saying.
I feel like
talking
I'm
about-
getting attacked here because
Oh,
I'm
okay.
mad.
Wait.
I don't want any
Okay,
of my
ladies, hold
children
on.
to
Hold
date
on.
outside their race.
It's just
That's
shocking.
how I feel.
Let's put it this way.
It's
I'm
just
happy.
shocking.
I'm happy that I didn't go outside my race now.
See, this is exactly what slavery did to you, and this is what it did to us. It separated us. It made us feel that we were completely independent of each other when in reality, we're all the human race.
Thank you.
So why are we focusing so much on our differences rather than our commonalities?
Yeah.
And you know,
Quiet on the set.
no, but race, actually, it's just a color. It's basically a color.
Yeah, and I prefer
It
white.
is.
to be
I
with
have
my
a
white-
little more melanin
And I'm
in my
happy
skin
that my
than you
daughter
have.
looks just like me too.
Okay, so let me ask you ladies a question. Just in general, I'm not asking you to get into specifics really right now, but just generally speaking, with everything that's happening in the media, the images that are portrayed about black people, how do you feel? I'm sorry, how do you feel, Linda, about black people in general?
I
How do you feel?
How do I feel? I feel fine. I feel, you know, if a black person, okay, African American, politically correct. Okay, I feel fine. I'm fine being near, touching, you know.
Okay, let me
anything
get
like that.
specific
The
then.
problem
Okay.
the problem that I have is how some African Americans portray themselves.
Okay, but there are some white Americans who portray themselves very
Yes.
disgustingly as
Yes,
well.
and
So do
I
you
have
want to
a problem with
disassociate
them
yourself
too.
too?
Yes.
From them?
There's white people call them white trash. You know,
Yeah, WT.
there's a lot of white
Oh,
trash.
really? I
Okay,
didn't know that.
And so would you?
I mean, there's all kinds of thugs in every race, and why should we say it's just about the blacks?
but that's what
It's-
the media is really focusing on. That's what we're talking
and
about today.
Hispanic also.
Well, what I have issues with is that with rap music, they're always saying the nigger word and everything in there, and you know they're black.
What does that have to do with anything though?
They're so and they call each other nigger all the time. But when a white person calls a black person anything like that, they put up like.
But
It is
every
too
African
sensitive.
American does not agree with that.
Yeah.
I personally don't agree with using
Well,
that
I don't
word.
agree with
It's
that word at all,
It's a
that
word of
it's just-
oppression.
Yes,
It's
yes.
a word of what?
Oppression. I mean,
Okay.
we've
But
risen
why
above
do they
that.
call each other that?
Because
I
some
don't know.
Well, I can answer that. Some because members in my family do use that word. They don't say nigger, they say nigga.
Nigga,
And to
yeah.
some of them, they do feel that there's a distinction between the two words, and it's for them it's a term of endearment. Now, again, as Tyree
see how
pointed
that can
out,
be confusing
but
for
wait,
whites?
but as Tyree
Yeah,
pointed
it's
out,
very confusing
no,
for
it's very
whites.
simple actually. As Tyree pointed out, not all black people feel that way. So the safe thing to do to show that you respect black people is to not use it. Just don't use the word.
you're right.
And that shows, that gives space for the ones who don't appreciate it.
And there's ignorance in every race.
There is.
I mean, okay, because some people are ignorant and want to use that word in a song or as a term of endearment, doesn't mean that the entire race is ignorant.
And on top of that, that is also another, effect from, brought down from slavery. The fact that there are African Americans who refer to themselves as, the N word, that stems from slavery. We didn't use that word
No.
But
to show love to each other.
I
That
think-
was taught to us. So just to keep it real, obviously there are things that black people are doing to contribute to this fear. They're committing crimes. We're committing crimes in our community. We have to own up to that. We have to take responsibility for that. And the media is doing a very good job of portraying that.
capturing it.
Yes,
Yes.
And making sure that the world sees it. So, how do you ladies feel? Tyree, how do you feel about that?
There is crime. There is crime in every race.
Right.
Do black people make it any better by committing crimes or walking around, like we talked about a few minutes ago with the pants sagging or, just looking like a thug? No, that doesn't make it any better. That will make anybody afraid of it. I would be afraid if if somebody approached me looking like they were carrying a gun and their, pants, scully cap on, But at the same time, we have to remember that it's not just the African American race.
Right.
Like I said, the media is portraying that. They're sucking that out. It's the white race too. Do you know that white people participate in more crimes, sell more drugs, traffic more drugs than the African American? 70%
Absolutely.
more.
Absolutely.
But yet, the media portrays it as the African American that is doing that. That's doing most of it.
And
not
let
arguing
me
with you.
tell you one of the reasons that African Americans sometimes tend to engage in such crimes. okay? Corporate America is not fair when it comes to employing African American male. I mean, they don't want to give them any job whatsoever, and these people gotta survive. So when they have to survive, they turn to the street. When they turn to the street, they start selling drugs. The drug law, the big ones, are all different races, not black, and they are millionaires and billionaires, and you name it. And they come and go in the neighborhood and give these kids all of this. I mean,
But
50 Cent said it right. I sold my
50
ring for
cent,
whatever.
45 cent,
for
whatever.
4-finger ring. But let me finish. Let me finish. When they do all of these things to the African American men, some of them give up. They gave up because you can't find a job. You can't do anything. You know
that's
how
a
it feels
crutch.
when you're supposed to
That
be
is
the
a
breadwinner
crutch.
in your house and you cannot provide for your family?
Okay, but that is an excuse to do what you want to do. There are programs. If you need help, get help. Ask for help. Go to
Okay.
your local
Wait a minute.
community. Ask for the programs. You can't walk into a job if you want a job dressed certain way. You
Right.
have to bring
Yes.
yourself
But
up if
It
you want
has
the job.
nothing to do with how they are dressed. Corporate America discriminates so much against the black men. They did so many studies. You had people from Harvard, blacks from Harvard, Caucasian from Harvard, dressed up. When the interview went perfect. The black even interviewed better than the white. You know who they selected? The white person.
I do.
Is
but
it
it has
possible?
nothing to do
Wait,
with
wait, wait.
How the cause.
So is it possible that value you have in your home, could it be trickling over into corporate America? Like, is that same fear present in
It is-
corporate America
it
as well?
It is. We're seeing it.
And is that okay with you as well?
She's teaching it.
Excuse me.
You're teaching segregation. You're teaching
I am not
that
teaching
your
that.
child is not allowed to marry a person by the color
They
of
can
their
be.
skin.
You can be friends with anybody.
They can
Yeah.
only
So,
be
okay,
friends
so we
as to where
saying-
the line is drawn. They can only be friends.
Okay, so
with that
wait. So this is good. So in corporate America, we can be friends, we can partner, but you cannot
But we
hire
can't
us.
mix.
No.
Is that what's happening?
I
Same
don't
thing.
feel that that's right.
Okay.
I think whoever's the most qualified for the job should get the job.
It's not
Okay.
happening a lot of times.
So, okay, stop right there. You said whoever is the most qualified should get the job.
Yes.
So if your child picks someone that's the most qualified to be their husband, they should get the job.
Yeah,
Exactly. Exactly.
was good.
But Linda,
That's way different though.
It's not just the same.
I don't see it. I don't see it the same.
Why do you want to be the person making a decision for
I don't
a
see it
child
that
Well, whites
20
really.
years from now?
But I don't see it that way.
So do you want to force your child to see it that way as
I'm
well?
not forcing anything.
You are.
Are you
You're
sure?
telling your child because they will live in fear that they don't have your blessing, that you're not going to love them because of who they marry.
And this is why it's so important for us to have this conversation. You know, we look around at the state of our country and we're friends, you know, and we care about each other, but there is still a great divide. Clearly. I mean, you speak of having this value of keeping the traditions alive and well in your home. But, and truth be told, you know, I'm pretty sure some of us know some friends or some people who feel the same way in the black community. We don't want our kids marrying, you know, outside their race. But if we continue, you know, ignoring this big elephant in the room, we're never going to get anywhere. Right? I mean, what do you think?
Well, maybe if there was more, I don't know, like dialogue between different races. I mean, branch out of your own comfort zone. You know, if you only have white friends, try to have, you know, a Hispanic or African American friend too. You know what I mean? Could get different perspectives.
It starts at home. I mean, you have to instill that in your children, that it's okay to not judge a person from what's on the outside, but judge a person by what their character is and not by the color of their skin.
And this is why it's so important that we have these types of conversations. Because we're friends. I mean, we're all friends, but obviously there is still a divide in this country. And so,
There's also a divide on the dating world.
But-
Blackpeople.com. I mean,
But-
seriously,
Yeah.
if it's what it said, whitepeople.com, you know.
But in
when
trying
that-
to
And they
fix
have-
that,
and
it changes. It,
Okay, but on this site,
Okay, but
does it
listen
say that
here.
you have to be
Wait a
a
minute.
black person to
it
go?
says
Maybe white
whitepeople.com.
They
Maybe
even
it's
have,
about
they even
white
have their
people
own
to meet black
show.
people.
well,
Sorry,
okay,
they
okay.
even have their own
No,
show.
but-
Well, that's
Blackish.
because
I'm just trying to make a point.
Have you
know,
seen the show?
Linda, what were you doing on that site?
Oh, there we go.
That's the better
Well, I
question.
saw it on television.
That's the better question. Maybe you made me a little
But
curious.
okay,
Just
but
saying.
this is serious though.
It is.
If white people had put a site up like that, we'd automatically be told we're being racist. But if black people do it, it's different. They do.
Obviously, you know, there's a divide on social media and, you know, on the internet. But are you saying you would be okay if there was, you know, whitepeople.com, if that was permissible?
You know, if that was more of a common thing, like, because it's so common now for everything that has to do with the black community, blackpeople.com, things like that, you know.
But
That to me makes me feel,
does it offend you?
it does. It kind of offends me because
Okay.
it says black people.
So
know
do you
what I
feel
mean?
excluded?
At least
Like, what-
eHarmony, that's everybody. Yeah.
Okay, but so here's the deal. You know, so according to the Census Bureau, the time will come when white Americans will be the minority in this country. You know, we know this. So how are you feeling about that?
Well, the reason why that's happening is because white America is, you know, going to school, getting their jobs, and waiting to have kids till later in life.
Okay, wait a minute, because a statistic just came out that African American women are doing better in every category when it comes to education.
I didn't say
currently.
anything about that.
So then
But
what
I'm
point are you
saying is-
making?
What I'm saying is a lot of women and some men are starting to wait till they're like in their later 30s to have kids. So that's, you know, a lot of the Hispanics, they have babies early.
So is that
You
a
know?
problem? I don't understand where you're going.
Well, that's why the whites are becoming the minority.
But is
No,
it-
no, that
And
they're not
sometimes
becoming
they
the
just
minority.
time goes past,
Okay.
right? Sometimes
Yeah.
time goes past, and they just white
Not
people.
white people.
No, you guys are you're missing the point. You two white people, they are becoming the minority because they're having babies with the black people and all over. 3 white guys, listen, 3 white guys just married 3 of my nieces, my brother and my sister children, 3. And guess what? You know what the babies are gonna look like? Mixed. So with
So
all
that's-
those mixed,
okay.
with all the mixed babies, it's gonna make the white people minority.
Okay.
It's getting to a point where the population in this country
That's why
is
it's
not
so
going to be
important
white or black
for-
anymore.
No, okay. And that's why it's important that for me, in my beliefs, is to stay within your own race.
So are you afraid of becoming the minority?
It's not that I'm afraid to become the minority, but for myself and my family, I want us to be within our own race. And it's gonna get harder and harder if people keep intermixing, and you're not gonna have, you know, when people keep intermixing, it's gonna make it much more harder for the Caucasian people to find another Caucasian that looks like them.
Absolutely.
Okay? I feel that that's sad. That's really sad to me.
I think so
Why
too.
is that sad?
Oh
Because-
my
Why?
God.
Why is that sad?
I mean, I know
Because
that I'm
she's
not the
still-
only person
'cause
that
white
feels
people
that.
are going to be the minority.
But I'm
It's-
not
you
worried
say
about that.
and it sounds like you're really afraid of that happening. What
Well-
is really the issue?
Well, the real
I don't get it.
is that you know, some of us just want to have just it to be equal.
So you don't want your people, white Americans, to become the minority. Why is that?
Well, because I think that we need to be equal. We need just you know, when my boyfriend broke up with me, he said, "You stick with your people, and I'll stick with my people." And if everybody just stuck with each other's own people, we don't have to worry about having all these mixed kids because he was mixed with white and black, and it really was hard on him, and he didn't like it. He didn't know whether to go white or black, and so this way, if we just stick with whoever we are, we could just be happy and just stick with.
But is this country happy with that? I mean, we're talking about something that we've all experienced. Well, everyone except the white Americans. We've been the minority. Is it so bad for white America to experience that as well?
Well, it looks like it's probably going to happen, so I guess we'll just get used to whatever happens, right, Linda?
Yeah, Linda, what do you feel about that? What is your overall take on all of this?
When it comes to race, I mean, I don't have a problem with any race. It's just when you're going to make a commitment in marriage and children, I have a strong belief that it should be within your own race. Now, that being said, if you are gonna get married and not have kids, I don't care who you marry. You know what I mean? It's about basically, I guess it's preserving your race. I don't know if
Are
that's
you
the correct
afraid?
word.
Are you
Yeah,
afraid of
I-
losing? Are you afraid of losing
You know,
your
I don't
community?
want to. I guess it's because I don't know if it's because it's like what I'm comfortable seeing, or if it's just I don't want to see the white race disappear. And it feels like if it keeps intermixing the way it is, then that's gonna happen. That's why for me, it's important to stick within my own race, and that's what I want my children to do. You know what I mean?
So let me ask you this question, Linda. In looking at what's happening all over the country and knowing how you feel about the situation, we've all heard, what do you think we could do to find some common ground on this issue?
Common ground. I don't know. I honestly, I mean, like, I grew up. I've had all types of friends: Hispanic, Asian, African American. You know, and I've been fine being friends with everybody.
Right.
But for my own comfort, I prefer to stay with what I know.
Right. So what's your recommendation?
My recommendation is, you know, if you're raised a certain way, there's a reason why a family wants you to stick within your own race. Okay? There's a huge group that doesn't care if you intermix, you know, that want you to intermix, but that's the group that is like a radical to me. You know what I mean? My world is different from your world. Okay? You see things that I wouldn't see because I am white. Okay? You might feel somebody's being racist against you or anything like that. To me, I mean, I don't feel that.
Well, Linda, you don't feel any of those things. You can't relate because you were never made to be a slave.
You know what? That's this or that. You were never a slave.
But my
okay?
people were.
Your people.
And we're still experiencing the effects of slavery.
Okay.
I experience it every day.
Well, I don't really know what you expect for me to say when you, how you expect me to respond when you say that.
Just how you honestly feel.
I feel that slavery's been gone for so long that, you know, segregation, integration, all that, you know, everybody now you're saying, oh, intermix. Well, there's a huge group of people that don't want to intermix. And I don't feel that the people that want to have their race to be as pure as you can get, to be
Pure?
as white, okay, maybe pure's not the word. I don't want, okay, let's say it this way.
Okay.
You're making me dig myself into a hole here. No, but what I'm trying to say is, as far as how certain white people feel, okay, we don't want to feel pressured to have to feel that it's okay to intermix if we don't really feel that way. You know, there's a whole group of people that don't have a problem with intermixing, and that's fine. But for me, in my family, I am against that.
Okay, you keep saying it's fine, but you're also stressing the importance for it not to happen with you and for it not to happen with those other people who currently feel that way. But what about the next generation? If it's truly fine, then Linda, why isn't it okay for your kids to make their own choices on this matter?
Because of what we talked about earlier with the white culture is we're shrinking.
And are you afraid of are you afraid of shrinking? Like,
Well, yeah,
are you afraid of
course I
blending
am.
in more?
I just don't want there to not be any more white race. I mean, come on.
Okay, Linda. Well, Tyree, what do you think about what she just said?
Well, I think in order to work towards a resolution, it has to start at home. So a lot of what Linda is saying is about preserving a specific race, whether it be the white race or the black race or, you know, the Hispanic race. But as a nation, I feel that we need to work on instilling characteristics in our children that we don't look at each other based on what our skin looks like or may not look like, our ethnicity. We need to look at each other in regards to our character, what our characters speak, what type of wisdom that person has, what type of companion they're going to be, and quit worrying about what they look like.
Right.
If the person, we love in our hearts for one another. If the person wants to marry someone that's outside of a different race, if that person makes them happy, then go for it. You know, happiness is what is the ultimate situation here. And to say that you want to preserve your race, you can't marry this person because they're not your skin color, to me that's segregation. I mean, it's teaching our children to hate a person based on the color of their skin.
But I
And-
never ever said hate. I don't
To-
hate anybody.
To not like them enough to want to marry them. If they look at a person and they love that person, they're connected to that person, they want to marry them, but they can't because of the color of their skin.
People do that all the time,
That's
even with
hate.
religion. So, you know what?
But we're talking about progressing. So what do you think, Irene?
Well, I do. I tell my kids that it's easier to stay in your own race. It's easier. It's a lot easier. And I'm sorry we're divided.
So who are you married to?
Okay, I'm Mexican, German, and white,
Okay.
and I'm married to a Mexican Italian.
Okay.
And my children are Mexican and white. And I tell my children that they should stay in that circle because it's easier. I did date a black male before, and I wanted to marry that black male, and it was really hard. And it not only was hard because of the beach and because of white people, it was really hard because he came from a very strong black family.
Is that a problem? You said strong.
Very strong. And they did not like me. They thought I was pretty, I was great, but they were just like Linda.
And do you think that's okay, just because it was black people doing it?
I didn't think it was fair. And I think that you're pinning Linda up when they did the same thing to me that Linda is teaching her girls.
Okay, so to get really clear, I don't condone it on either side of the issue.
Neither do I.
So I heard you earlier saying that, you know, you understand you're with Linda on this, but now you're talking about, you know, your past experiences and how it made you feel.
Right.
So how is it that you are able to feel comfortable enough to make this okay? Yeah, to tell it to your children.
Because I did live it. I did live it, and it was hard. And it was hard. It was hard. It is hard. And so I told them I just want them to have it easier.
Okay, I hear you saying it's easier, and obviously we all could use a break because life is tough. But, you know, what can we do? I mean, because we can't stay here forever. We have got to move past this space where there is racism and hatred, and that's what drives our country. What do you think we could do? Having gone through everything you've gone through personally, what do you think we could do to, like I asked Linda, find common ground on this issue?
Well, I just think that everyone could be friends. Or you don't have to. You don't have to. No one's raised. I'm not teaching them to not have friends that are black or whatever. It's just you can have friends and people just
But they can't marry
enjoy
them.
enjoy. Well, they can do. They're gonna do. Even Linda's girls. They're gonna do whatever they're going to do, whether you want them to do it or not. So if it's strong in someone's heart to marry someone, they're gonna do it. So
But
no
what kind of
matter-
repercussions will they be facing, or will they be afraid to bring that person home, this person who they love
well,
so deeply?
I'm okay with whatever they do. I'm just saying that it's easier.
Have you made that clear to your children that it's perfectly okay for them to bring home someone outside of your race?
Yes. Oh, we have our next door neighbors are African.
I mean, to
American.
date or to marry. Have you made it perfectly clear that it's okay for them to bring home potentially a black man or a black woman to marry and reproduce with?
Well, they bring home the opposite. They bring home African Americans as friends all the time.
But I'm speaking specifically about dating and marriage. Is that okay with you?
Whatever they want to do is fine with me.
Okay, Bindu, I'm just really excited to hear what you have to say about this issue because you are straight from Africa, so you got that wonderful perspective. What do you feel America could do to get past this race issue once and for all?
Number one, there should be a lot more dialogue, exactly what we're doing right now, letting the audience know exactly how we feel. The media in the United States of America should play a very active role in bridging the gap between the race relations and stuff like that. And our African counterpart, we from Africa, we need to hold America responsible, and, you know, to minimize this race issue. We are all one person, and, you know, this race issue has to go away. I know a lot of people have said it, Dr. Martin Luther King, Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, Oprah, I mean, you name it, everyone is saying it, but action speaks louder than words.
Right.
America, we need action, and a consistent, persistent action. We need to do that.
Well, I'll say this. It has been approximately 150 years since slavery has been abolished in this country, but traces of it still exist in the very fabric of our society today. So if we as an American people are to finally rise above our prejudices and rise above our biases and commit to finally resolving this issue with race once and for all, we must start with open minds and we must be persistent in our efforts.
Absolutely.
And we must have a great deal of compassion for one another.
Yeah.
It's like Bob Marley once said, until the philosophy that holds one race superior and another race inferior is finally and permanently discredited and abandoned, everything is war. Everything. And so to that I say, let's choose peace. Let's choose each other. Let's resolve this issue. Well, that's all the time we have for today's show. But as you know, a good argument doesn't die easily. We'll be continuing the conversation in our forums and on Facebook. So jump online and join the action. You've heard our voices. it's time we hear yours.